What is going on, everybody? It's France. I'm here for NXT review for September 11, 2019. We are on the final episode of NXT before we get to the much feared for a lot of us live edition of NXT. As we know, starting next week, NXT is going to be live from Full Sail University for the first 2 weeks on the USA Network for an hour, and the second hour is going to be on the network because WWE wanted so desperately to get the jump on AEW that they would sacrifice NXT as a whole by putting the first half on USA and the second half on the network because of the Suits series finale is going to be happening in 3 weeks from now. Next week is the next to last episode, a penultimate episode, and then of course the series finale the week after. That is why that is happening. It has been announced that Matt Riddle and Killian Dane will be on the network portion of the episode of NXT next week with a street fight. Of course, Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream will be in the first hour, so splitting that up a little bit, so that's nice. Also tonight, it was also announced that the triple threat match has now been called. It made a fatal four-way, with Candice LeRae being added to Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, and Mia Yim. I'll give my thoughts on that here in a second. Tonight's show, we had the Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley match. Johnny Gargano addressed his future. Angel Garza versus Pete Dunne. Cameron Grimes against raul Mendoza. And we started the show off with Damian Priest versus Boa. Before we got to that match, we had a vehicle show up, and it wasn't a limo, so it wasn't a McMahon. And usually when you see something like this show up, it's somebody important, and that person was Rhea Ripley, as she is getting here for her match tonight. So we get into the first match. It's Damian Priest versus Boa. All of the matches on this show, I think this was the only squash match that we had of the night. So they brought their strong that they could for this episode of NXT, being the final episode, which at the time I don't think they knew because this was, of course, taped 5 weeks ago, whatever it was. This was because I'm telling you right now, if they would have known they were coming, this was going to be the last episode taped. These are going to be the last 4 episodes taped before they go to USA Network. They would have brought the heavy guns. You would have seen the last 4 episodes have been great, have been good, but they would have been like right below NXT TakeOver level in these last 4 episodes to give you we're going out with a bang before we have to go to USA Network and pretty much be ruined by Vince McMahon. Damian Priest versus Boa. Boa did get a little bit of offense on here, but this was pretty much academic. Cyclone kick into the Reckoning, which is a take on the Crossroads, only done slightly different for the 1, 2, 3. Damian Priest is your winner. Then we see a vignette for North American Champion Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong. Maybe we'll meet next week on NXT. We see clips from Strong burning Dream's couch. We actually see how he got the couch set on fire by lighting. It looked like a road flare. He actually looked like he lit a road flare and put it in that couch, and that's what caused it to burn. This was honestly a very awesome package. After the whole burning thing, you saw the finger snaps, and then it was Dream cutting his promo. There was fire in his glasses, purple smoke all around him and everything. Whoever put this video package together needs a goddamn raise because they did fucking phenomenal job on this package. Johnny Gargano is out here to address his future. We get a legit 5 to 10 minute Johnny wrestling chant, and he just goes to talk, but the crowd gets louder, and he just soaks it in. This feels like while you're watching this, it feels like it's like, oh god, this is going to be Johnny Gargano's last night because he's just soaking this in. He's letting the crowd give him this adulation that he has rightfully deserved and earned in his time, the last four years in NXT. He says, I told everyone in the back I wouldn't be down here that long, but, everyone's going crazy. He's heard all the rumors about his future holds, crowd with a please don't go chant. He says the last thing he did in this ring was fall 20 feet to the mat. I think you're giving him a little credit, man. You only were in a 15-foot cage, and he fell down from the cage to a table. He woke up with the crowd saying thank you, Johnny, hugging his wife, getting a hug from Regal, and his hand being raised. I'm just adding, but you know what I mean. He thanks the fans and says that he would be no Gargano without the fans. He loves everything about NXT, everything from the fans to the people in the back working their asses off to give you the best damn professional wrestling in the business. He continues that he's been here for a very long time. He's seen people come and people go. And he says everyone, there's one thing that's been a constant is everybody has had a choice. And I have made mine. And I just wanted to come out here and tell you guys, cue Shane Thorne's music. Well, Johnny Gargano legitimately looked like he didn't expect Shane Thorne to come out here. He says, I get it. All this, all more Johnny time, but you are a pillar of NXT. But NXT will be fine without Gargano. It's time for the spotlight to be on somebody else to make this place even better. And it's time for you to take your bow and get out of here and walk away. Gargano goes to walk off. He gets to the ropes, puts his hands on the ropes, and leans down for a second. Puts the mic to his mouth and says, you know what? I am NXT. And I ain't going anywhere. Super kick. Stands in front over top of him. And pretty much does what Bret Hart did after the Marshall Screwjob. He spelled NXT for life. He did the four for the Four Horsemen, and then the L for life. Fucking loved it. So Johnny Gargano going absolutely nowhere, and that is absolutely the perfect call for the simple fact that if you're going to do this live every week for 2 hours, Johnny Gargano needs to be one of the faces of NXT next to the Undisputed Era. Now, will we see him be a 2-time NXT champion? Will we see him becoming 2-time North American champion? For all we know, by WrestleMania time, Johnny Gargano could be back in the North American Championship hunt, winning that championship, while Tommaso Ciampa's winning the NXT Championship, and the Team DIY are your singles champions in NXT. That would be effing awesome. So it looks like in the coming weeks we'll see Shane Thorne versus Johnny Gargano, which, in my opinion, Shane Thorne, I have not seen really much potential out of him, but I'll see what Johnny Gargano can do with him. If Johnny Gargano can't get a good match out of Shane Thorne, there is no help for Shane Thorne in NXT, and I think it would be time to move on from Shane Thorne. Future endeavor in whatever, but this guy just hasn't clicked with me when it comes to Shane Thorne. Johnny Gargano can mostly get a good match out of almost anybody. If Shane Thorne can't get a good match out of Shane Thorne, then I think it's time to move on from Shane Thorne. Johnny Gargano should be the measuring stick. If Johnny Gargano can get a 3.5 to 4 star match out of you, a 3 to 3.5 star, I should say, match out of you, then you have a potential to be something good. If he can't get that out of you, then WWE should be looking to give you a future endeavor. Just putting it out there. Johnny Gargano should be the guy that it goes out there and it's the test run. You go out there, you are in a losing outfit, mind you. Go out there and you face Johnny Gargano, and if Johnny Gargano can make you look good, then you have potential. If you go out there against Johnny Gargano and you just fall flat on your face, then they know that you're not going to work in NXT. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Pete Dunne versus Angel Garza. I don't remember them announcing this match last week. And then I went on the dirt sheets just to see, because these ones are still taped. And it said results for this episode. I didn't click on the results because I didn't want to know. But it said Pete Dunne versus Angel Garza in the heading. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Angel Garza, in my opinion, is the only guy in the breakout tournament that actually felt like a big deal coming out. Outside of the entrance of Dexter Lumis and what he did for that minute, that few minutes against Bronson Reed, Angel Garza, I think, is the one who benefited the most from the breakout tournament. It just feels like he came out and the crowd fucking loved him immediately. I think he's supposed to be a heel, by the way, because he comes in and he has one, like an old lady kiss him on the cheek, but he just rubs all of him, tries to he just shoves whatever off of him in front of everybody who's trying to give him a high five. So I think Angel Garza is supposed to be a heel, but the ladies fucking love him. He comes out and he's doing his shtick, doing his thing, and Pete Dunne just has this just this dirtiest look I think I've ever seen Pete Dunne give somebody. He was not impressed with Angel Garza. This was a pretty good fucking match back and forth. Garza gets some good moves in. He does eventually tear the shorts off to have his, smaller shorts on and tights underneath. Getting all the women to go woo, shit like that. The way Angel Garza ate a sit-out powerbomb, but it wasn't the way you would usually see a powerbomb. The double having him underneath and then lifting him up. He was standing up. They were standing right beside each other, like top to top, like face to face. And Pete Dunne just lifted this guy up as if he was just a doll or something, and pulled him up and hit a sit-out powerbomb. Absolutely fucking beautiful looking sit-out powerbomb. Dunne tried to manipulate the joints. Angel Garza did everything he could to stop that from happening. Garza ends up going for a moonsault. Misses completely. Dunne puts him in the arm, catches his arm, lifts the fingers, which Dunne, something had to be wrong with Dunne at the end of this, because he got on top of him like he usually would. He tried the first time and fell back, and then he got up on the second time, and when he snaps the fingers in this sense, he usually holds on until the person taps. But he snapped, and his one hand, his right hand fell off, as if he was really something wasn't right with Pete Dunne. So I hope Pete Dunne's not injured at all. It just felt like at the end of this, it felt like he had a little bit of a minor injury on his hands. That was that. Pete Dunne, Angel Garza had a pretty good match, with Pete Dunne, of course, winning. Angel Garza is going to be someone to look forward to in the coming months when we go to 2 hours. I would say probably after post WrestleMania time, because right now they're building all their characters that they're going to use for now until WrestleMania weekend, whenever that's going to be, if they're still doing that. Which takeovers are going to be hard for them to do next year after War Games. But the simple fact is, Fox is now on SmackDown's now on Fridays on Fox, and WrestleMania is going to be weird because I don't think they're going to have a takeover WrestleMania weekend this year. I know there's already talk of them not doing one Royal Rumble weekend because they're doing Worlds Collide instead. I don't think they're going to be able to do one WrestleMania weekend just because of the fact that you have the Hall of Fame as well. So when they release the schedule of what NXT takeovers are going to look like next year, we'll get into it. But it just think that the people that you see getting built up, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, Roderick Strong, Velveteen Dream, Matt Riddle, Killian Dane, those guys are probably going to factor in to takeovers, this takeover, and whatever they do the rest of the year. It's after we get through all those takeovers, Angel Garza is going to be one of those guys, in my opinion, that is going to see a lot of success in NXT because he's got it. The guy is good in the ring. The only thing that I don't know is what his promo skills are like. But the guy's got the charisma. He's got the fucking fans are all over him. He comes out. He got a bigger pop than Pete Dunne, in my opinion. The ladies love him. He's got a good fucking look, and he can work in the ring. So that is always a positive. We see the Street Profits in their way to Street Talk. They're in Central Park. They talk about being on Raw and MSG for the first time ever. Dawkins says he hasn't been the same since they lost the tag team titles, though. Ford says, how about next week they show up and take those back? Dawkins thinks that sounds like a great idea, but first we got to take care of Madison Square Garden, which they got lost and had to figure out how to get there. Asked some bum who was on his phone, and they decided to go there. So that was that. The Street Profits, it was not made official that the Street Profits will be taking on the Undisputed Era next week. So I'm going to say that match probably doesn't happen next week. We already have 3 big matches for next week's show with the North American Championship, the Street Fight with Matt Riddle and Killian Dane, and the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Championship #1 contendership. We really don't need that match as well. That could be the next week episode of NXT. Raul Mendoza versus Cameron Grimes. I don't know what's up with the carny look for Cameron Grimes. He's got a vest on now. He has a top hat that makes him look like a ringleader or something. I don't know where they're going with Cameron Grimes, but this one was academic too. I wouldn't say this was a squash match. Raul Mendoza did get a lot of work in on Cameron Grimes, but in the end, Phoenix Splash got moved, got missed. He rolls, Mendoza rolls through. Garza hits the double stomp, the standing double stomp for the 1-2-3. It is a devastating move, the standing double stomp that he does, but I don't think it's a really good finisher for somebody like Cameron Grimes. It just, to me, it feels like he should have a better one. Yes, it does sound devastating and horrible when he goes down on somebody. It just, to me, feels like it's not a very memorable or good finisher in the sense of how it looks. But Cameron Grimes gets the win. Where are they going with him? I have no idea. But we will have to wait and see. Then we go to the back. William Regal's on his laptop doing business, NXT business as usual, when Candice LeRae storms into Regal's office. She wonders why. Why is he rewarding Io Shirai? She's attacking people. She's attacking her. And she doesn't get why she's in this triple threat match when she doesn't really deserve it. He says, you know what? I'm going to make that match a fatal four-way with LeRae being added. He then says if Ripley wins tonight, it could end up being a fatal five-way number one contenders match. LeRae says as long as she can get her hands on Shirai, she doesn't care. And then, one of the best promos I think we've seen, one of the best return hire packages I've seen. The captain of Team Kick, Dakota Kai, is making her return. They did not say next week, though. But in my opinion, it's been a long time coming. I know she's been out with an ACL tear. It's been a damn shame. NXT has missed Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai has been needed in the NXT Women's Division. So seeing her come back would be absolutely fantastic. I know Tegan Nox made her debut on NXT UK earlier today when she beat some bum in about 2 minutes. Someone slapped her. She hit him with a kick to the head and then hit him with the shiniest wizard, my bad, and she won that match. So Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, both back, awesome. Can't wait to see what Dakota Kai can do. Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley non-title match. This match was definitely hard-hitting. Rhea Ripley, just the biggest thing I don't get about this is that Rhea Ripley is a bona fide heel in NXT UK. She has been a heel, pretty much. She has been a heel since the second Mae Young Classic. And then when Tegan Nox went down with that injury, she played it up as heel. She took credit for the injury. She talked shit about her on Twitter, and now she's over here and she's supposed to be this big baby face. I don't get it. I don't get if they're trying why they flipped the script and made her. I know you have Io Shirai, who's a brand new heel, and then you got Shayna Baszler, who's the top dog in all of the women's division in NXT. So I still don't get why you want to bring Rhea Ripley over. I would have much rather seen them bring Toni Storm over, who is a big time babyface. And her and Shayna Baszler could have themselves a hell of a match. But this was not a bad match at all. Unfortunately, the match ends, and this kind of brought a downer to the end of this episode. Just as Baszler is getting her ass kicked, she gets slammed down. Shafir and Duke run down. Shayna gets a drop. Shafir gets a drop kick to the face by Rhea Ripley. Duke doesn't come in. Baszler with a big kick gets and Jessamine Duke grabs a chair, throws it in, and Rhea Ripley blocks a chair shot from Shayna Baszler. She takes it and then whacks her over the back. Post-match, Baszler, Duke, and Shafir head up to the stage. Rhea Ripley sits down in a chair and tells Shayna to come while the champ holds up the title, and Baszler wins by disqualification. And my whole thought is this is why you brought Rhea Ripley over from NXT UK, was to lose a match by DQ? Surely they have more plans for Rhea Ripley. This was just the show was done on a big time high. It felt good, and then they had this match and it was good, and then it just fell off. I don't think there was a reason to have Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler if you were going to go to this DQ route and have Shayna Baszler win by DQ. If you wanted Rhea Ripley to win by DQ and then insert her in that fatal four-way and make it a fatal five-way, I can understand that, but this just made absolutely no sense. I'm pretty sure, they're not done, but you're going to have a fatal four-way next week that determines the number one contender. And Rhea Ripley is not one of those women. So I don't know where they're going with this, why they decided to do this, but this was the decision that they made. As we go to the lower third shows up, a black screen, and then we get Shock the System. As the Undisputed Era are hyping next week's show on the USA Network, where Roderick Strong will take on Double Team Dream. Strong says he's hated that couch that he burned up. He's like, Dream wanted me to get his attention. I think I did pretty well. I hated that couch, and I hate you, Dream. And plans on winning the title to fulfill the prophecy of the Undisputed Era, carrying all the gold. Of course, Adam Cole says that this place has been getting bigger and better, and it all has to do with the Undisputed Era. Says it's because of us that USA Network is coming, and that was that. So NXT ended, like, it was a good show, and then it ended with a thud, I believe, with the fact that you had the whole Shayna Baszler beating Rhea Ripley by disqualification because Rhea Ripley took a chair and whacked it once, not 3, 4 times, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, once. She hit her once, and then Baszler rolled out of the ring, and that was that. Like, if the number one, here's the thing, if the Fatal 4-Way next week, and if it's a Fatal 5-Way by now, I don't know why it would be, because Rhea Ripley lost. But the Fatal 4-Way next week, if Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Mia Yim, or Bianca Belair win that match, I don't know if that's going to be the match for War Games because we still have about a month and a half before War Games. So it's about 2 months, really. Yeah, 2 months. We have like 2 months till War Games. So I don't think the number one contendership next week is going to be for War Games. It could be a random episode of NXT. I don't have a clue yet. But for now, it's like, why would you bring Rhea Ripley over if you're just going to have her lose a non-title match by disqualification? I think this is a big misstep right now, but this isn't the full story. I'm sure that Triple H has got ideas of where they're going to go with this. Maybe it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler at TakeOver War Games, and this title match is just this number one contendership match is just a placeholder, and the winner of that will go for the title in October, on October 2nd, for the NXT Women's Championship, so they could have something to go against AEW. That's my thinking, is that this Fatal 4-Way is going to be for a match for October 2nd to be that first episode, full 2 hours on USA against AEW. But let me know in the comment section. That is your NXT review for tonight. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter and twitch.tv/TheFranceClub, and I will see you guys on Friday for Clash of Champions predictions, Sunday afternoon for Unscripted, and then of course Clash of Champions Sunday night. Until then, my name is The France, and I will see you guys later.